The lights in the great hall died in the middle of my toast. One moment I was standing in front of 4,000 alien nobles with a glass raised high, and the next moment, the whole chamber went black, and a scream tore through the crowd like a blade through cloth. My hand was still holding the glass when the emergency lights flickered on, dim and red, and I saw the Queen's guards drawing weapons from every direction at once. My name is Daniel Cole. I was the only human on Thren Station, and an hour earlier, I had been the guest of honor at the 900th birthday of Sajara Vek, mother of the Vorlothi Expanse. Now I was standing in the dark with a room full of panicking aliens and no idea what was happening. "Everyone down," a guard shouted in broken human speech, her mandibles clicking fast with fear. "Thread inside the hall." I dropped to the floor without thinking. Around me, robes rustled, and claws scraped against stone, as the nobles scattered. Somewhere above us, on the high platform where the Queen had been sitting only seconds before, I heard her voice cut through the chaos, sharp and commanding. "Protect the human," she said. "He is not to be touched." That should have made me feel safe. It did not, because if the Queen was worried about me getting hurt in an attack meant for her, that meant someone in this room had a very good reason to want either of us dead. A guard grabbed my arm and pulled me toward a side passage, but I twisted free. I don't know why. Maybe it was instinct, maybe it was stupidity, but something told me that running blind into a dark corridor was more dangerous than staying where I could see. Then the lights came back on, and I understood exactly what I was looking at. 6 figures stood near the far wall, wearing armor unlike anything the Vorlothi guards carried. Black plating, sharp edges, no insignia. They moved together, fast and precise, cutting a path straight toward the platform where the Queen stood frozen between 2 of her own guards. "Rebel faction," someone near me whispered. "The Hollow Circle. They want her removed." I did not know what the Hollow Circle was, and honestly, in that moment, I did not care. All I understood was that 6 armed strangers were closing in on a woman who, an hour ago, had laughed with me over a shared drink and called it the beginning of a new tradition. I was not going to stand there and watch that end in blood. I grabbed the only thing near me that could work as a weapon, a heavy ceremonial staff resting against the wall, and ran. The guards were fighting, but they were outnumbered and slow to organize. The intruders moved like they had trained for exactly this moment, weaving between defenders, ignoring wounds that would have dropped a human twice over. I realized quickly that brute force was not going to help me here. I was not stronger than them. I was not faster. But I understood something they didn't expect. I understood chaos. I swung the staff at a floating light fixture above the crowd, shattering it and sending sparks raining down over 2 of the attackers. They flinched, just for a second, distracted by the sudden shower of light and heat. That second was enough for one of the Queen's guards to knock one of them off balance. "Cole, get back," Sajara Vek shouted, but I was already moving toward the platform stairs. A figure blocked my path, faceless behind a dark visor, weapon raised toward me. I threw the staff at his head, not because I thought it would hurt him, but because I needed a distraction, and it worked. He batted it aside on reflex, and in that half-second, I dropped low and slammed my shoulder into his knees. We went down together. His weapon skidded across the floor. I don't remember deciding to grab it. I just remember it was suddenly in my hand, and I was pointing it at him, and my heart was beating so loud I couldn't hear anything else in the room. "Move and I use this," I said, though I had no idea how to fire an alien weapon, and I doubt he understood a word of it. But something in my voice must have carried the meaning, because he went still. Around us, the fight was turning. With one attacker down, the guards found their rhythm again, pushing the remaining intruders back toward the far wall. I saw Sajara Vek finally break free of her guard's protective circle, standing tall on the platform, her eyes locked on the chaos below with a fury that made even her own soldiers step aside. "Take them alive," she said. "I want to know who sent them." The fight ended almost as fast as it began. 2 of the intruders were captured, 3 fled through a side passage before the guards could seal it, and 1 lay unconscious near my feet, the one I had tackled. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped the weapon on the floor. Sajara Vek came down from the platform herself, ignoring the protests of her guards, and stood in front of me. Up close, Her eyes were not cold like I expected from a ruler in the middle of a crisis. They were sharp, searching, almost worried. "Why did you run toward the danger?" she asked. "Every instinct in your body should have told you to run away." I did not have a clean answer. My hands were still shaking, and the adrenaline was fading into something closer to nausea. "Where I come from," I said, "if someone shares a drink with you and calls you a friend, you don't just stand there when they're in trouble." She studied me for a long moment, and the chamber around us was completely silent, every noble and guard watching the exchange between the queen and the strange human who had thrown himself into a fight that was not his to fight. "You could have died," she said. "So could you," I answered. "Seemed like a fair trade." She let out a short, sharp laugh, the same clicking sound I had heard earlier that night, but this time it carried something heavier underneath it, something like relief. The captured attackers were taken away for questioning, and slowly, the hall began to breathe again. Guards checked on the wounded, nobles whispered among themselves, and the broken light fixture I had smashed was already being cleared from the floor. I stood there feeling strangely out of place again, the way I had felt when I first walked into that room hours earlier, except now, every eye in the chamber was on me for a very different reason. A guard named Vessa approached and knelt in front of me, an old and clearly uncomfortable gesture for her species. "You saved lives tonight," she said. "The hollow circle has tried twice before to reach her radiance, during a public gathering. Both times, we lost soldiers. Tonight, we lost none. I just got lucky," I said. "Luck does not throw itself between 6 trained killers and a queen," she said. "Instinct does that. Loyalty does that." I did not know what to say to that, so I said nothing. Later, after the hall had mostly emptied, and the medics had finished their checks, Sajara Vek asked me to walk with her along a private corridor overlooking the city below. The lights of the hive world stretched out in every direction, gold and blue against the dark sky, calm now, in a way that felt almost unreal, after everything that had happened. "The Hollow Circle believes rulers should be chosen through combat, not cycles of peace," she said. "They have wanted me removed since before you arrived on this world. Tonight was not their first attempt, and it will not be their last." "Then you need better security," I said. "I need something else," she said, turning to face me fully. "I need someone who acts without waiting for permission. My guards are loyal, but they are trained to protect through structure, through command chains, through rules built over centuries. You saw danger and simply moved. That is rare. That is valuable." I understood where this was going before she finished the sentence, and honestly, part of me wanted to laugh at how fast my life had changed in one single night. I had come down to this planet with a bottle of whiskey and a borrowed translator, expecting a strange dinner party and an awkward evening among aliens who barely understood human customs. Instead, I had ended up in a fight for a queen's life, and now she was asking me to stay. "I'm not a soldier," I said. "I'm not trained for this." "No," she agreed. "But you are honest, and you are brave in a way that has nothing to do with training. I do not need another soldier. I have thousands. I need someone who sees the whole room the way you did tonight, who finds a way forward when there should not be one." I thought about Thren Station, about the cargo manifests waiting for me, about the quiet, unremarkable life I had been living before that crystal invitation showed up on my bunk. None of it felt as important anymore, standing on that balcony, with the whole hive world glowing below us. "If I stay," I said, "I want to know the truth about tonight. Who sent them? Why now? And why they were so certain they could get to you in a room full of your own people." "That is exactly the kind of question I need someone asking," she said, and for the first time that night, I saw something close to a genuine smile cross her face, strange and unfamiliar on Vorlothi features, but unmistakable all the same. We stood there a while longer in silence, watching the city lights flicker below, both of us still carrying the weight of what had almost happened. The party was over, the danger was gone for now, but something new had started in its place, something neither of us had expected when the invitation first arrived. I came to that birthday thinking I would share one drink and go home with a strange story to tell. Instead, I left with a place at the Queen's side, a target on my back, and the first clear sense in years that my life actually meant something to someone other than myself.